Joy.
And I'm Smooch.
And if you don't mind, for the audience I hopefully have, would you mind introducing yourself, Jonathan?
Yes.
Okay, we lost them. I lost the audio on my end a bit. So what
Oh
did you just say? I heard you introducing yourselves, and is this my cue to introduce myself?
no.
Okay, well, I'm Jonathan Geffner, and I'm the writer, executive producer, and actor, one of the lead actors in my movie, The Dummy Detective feature film.
And he's awesome.
Truly.
Thank you.
And how are you today?
Good. I'm glad to meet some new friends here. Three new friends that I can see here on the screen.
Yes.
Is is it true you came up with the with Detective Van Trillo and Sam Swaywak in 1995?
1995, yeah, that's when I created the characters of Trillo and Suede. I'm not sure of the exact year, but I guess somewhere you read 19, I guess I said 1995. That may have been the year. It was around then. Um, I was a professional ventriloquist already for a number of years. But that's when I came up with the characters, and that's been my main focus all these years, those characters, doing videos with them and trying to do big projects with them, feature films, for which I wrote several screenplays and also short films and web series. And I was trying to find a way to get a TV series going, and a lot of almost things that happened. Almost got a TV series, but those things didn't happen. Except eventually, I made some things happen. I did two short films. First one was Oxford Park, and this is all with the characters Trillo and Suede, the detective ventriloquist and his wooden partner. So, 2005, I produced Oxford Park, which I shot in England, and then there was a gap of a number of years while I was doing all kinds of things. But then I think it was 2019 that I did the first was 20 or 2000 2020 it might have been the web series, Trill and Suede web series, first season, and then second season next year. Yeah, that was probably 2021. And then 2022, I did Casa Noir, the short film, which is a parody and also homage to the famous, iconic 1942 film Casablanca with
Mhm.
Humphrey Bogart. My tribute to that and parody. But these are all Trillo and Suede projects. They all feature Trillo and Suede. And now finally, after decades of all kinds of efforts to get this done on a larger scale, something I finally did manage to produce a feature film, and that's The Dummy Detective.
Yay.
Ah.
How did you find that you had such a great talent?
Well, I saw a street performer, um, ventriloquist in New York City, Manhattan, Columbus Circle, and that was one day way back. Yeah, it was about 40 years ago. I was just mentioning before we started recording here today, trying to remember exactly when I started. So it was about 40 years ago, and I just fell in love with that art form. It was the first time I had seen a ventriloquist perform live, and so that just changed my whole life. I just noticed here on my screen. There's a message. This meeting is being recorded. It has an OK button. I hope we've been recording all this time because I didn't press OK. I'm going to press it now. Did that
That's
change
recording
anything?
signature
Did
sure
it?
on my side, but that's actually the first time I've heard of anyone mentioning that.
Right?
Oh, so I hope it's been recording on your end from the beginning. Did it say it's recording?
It's had the recording symbol, so let's go with hope.
Probably. Okay, so
I hope
let's hope.
so.
Hmm.
Did did the dummy detective take any info from Willie Wilder's Double Indemnity or Somewhere in the Night?
Double Indemnity. That's one of the classic great film noirs, right? So yeah, I was inspired by that, not specifically, not plot wise, but but a general kind of inspiration was all the classic film noirs, there are a lot of them that I've watched, and I was a big fan of film noir for many years, and that inspired me to create these characters and to create an alternate universe using ventriloquism and um, and film noir combined in some kind of this alternate universe. So, yes, Double Indemnity is one of the great ones, but there are a whole bunch of great film noirs, and I love that whole genre.
They're kind of like Muppet-esque.
I'm
What was
sorry,
that?
kind of like what?
Muppet-esque.
Oh, Muppet-esque. Okay.
What?
Well, yeah. I
Chocolate,
mean,
chocolate
the
gum,
Muppets are
yeah.
great, and I love
Mhm.
the whole Jemison universe that he created. But I became a ventriloquist when I got inspired by seeing that ventriloquist. Oops, sorry, my phone, shut my phone. I saw that ventriloquist street performer way back 40 years ago. To me, that seemed like a very special kind of puppetry, the most magical kind, so it makes it look more real, more alive, puppets, which I know you appreciate also.
She sure does. I saw where you write books too.
Well, I did write one novel, While the Village Sleeps, and that is actually a version, a novelized version of this movie, The Dummy Detective.
Ooh.
It's the same basic plot, but it's expanded because as a novel, you can go into much more detail in a novel than you can in a movie. Because a movie, everything has to be much tighter. A novel can go on and on, so you can have much more plot development and subplots and things like that. So yeah, that's still available on Amazon. What do you call it? What is it? Amazon. What's the? You can download books and rent.
Kindle.
Kindle. That's the word. Yes,
Mm,
Kindle. Yeah. So it's still available. Yeah, you
cool.
guys can go read the whole novel, which is maybe even more fun after watching the movie. You can get into more of the details. So same basic plot, but a lot more goes on in the novel. Of course, for me, it's more exciting to have it on the screen. That's what I really wanted. So that to me is sort of the ultimate. But there is one advantage to the novel, which is that there you can get into much more details.
Oh, we'll do that. We will read that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's only 99 cents, by the way. I think
Cool.
to read it on Kindle.
What
Nice.
was the biggest like learning moment with filming with different puppets within the context of a movie?
Did you say learning? Think that I learned?
Yes.
Oh, well, this wasn't the first movie that I shot, but it is the first feature film. So, I was experienced already with being on screen with my puppets and doing ventriloquism on screen in the short films and in the web series, and guest appearances on some TV shows years ago. It's been a while since I've had any of those, but when I was younger, earlier in my career, I was on a number of uh, TV shows just as a guest now and then. But so, that experience was not new for me, but how to get it working, how to sell that whole concept for the audience to buy into that concept for an extended period of time was a challenge that I didn't know for sure how well that's going to come off until the movie was finished and edited and everything. I believed it would work well, but you know, I had to do it to find out. And I'm pleased with the result. So that's for others to judge, though.
Yes, we like
What
very good results.
what was it like working with another ventriloquist in the same scene?
Oh, that's Nicholas Bushi. Yeah, that was fun because Nick is a very talented young ventriloquist. A lot of people out there watching this interview probably know of him, have seen him because he's got a very large following, especially on TikTok, I know, but I think pretty large even on other Instagram, YouTube. So Nick and Chris is his main partner. Um, and he's this very, very nice guy, very, you know, nice, pleasant person to deal with, and of course, very talented. So it was fun to be able to do that scene. We did one scene together. I mean, I wrote him into the script because I wanted to get him in there someplace because well, he has a big following, so I have a favorite marketing that would probably help. But also, I like what he does and how he does it, so I thought that would be a fun scene, and hopefully it is.
Yes.
I wish I wrote that down now, but hilariously, almost like an hour after we had watched Dummy Detective, I was scrolling through TikTok and actually found his Instagram live. I even looked out and showed Smooch. I'm like, look who I just found.
You mean you're talking about Nick Bushi?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
so you weren't familiar with him before that?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, so yeah, that's another ventriloquist to check out. He's really quite a talent.
Jumping a bit back to the web series, what was it like producing a show in 2020? Did that affect how it came out or anything else?
Well, COVID, right? That's
Mhm.
when COVID was on. So yeah, that was a huge pain in the butt to shoot that because there are all kinds of regulations about masking and distance and these vaccines and all this kind of stuff. So uh, we did follow these protocols, but it made shooting all the more difficult and challenging. It's hard enough without those protocols just to shoot a movie, to shoot a web series, to shoot anything, right? Uh, there's so many things that have to be done, and there's always something that goes wrong. But with this, yeah, it added a lot to the stress, plus the stress of even following protocols, worrying about whether you're going to catch COVID or spread COVID, and then also uh, worried about if that's going to stop production because if somebody, got COVID on set, because people had to get tested. I don't remember what the rule was. Like well, they had to get tested shortly before the shoot, and then after 1 week, and we were just the web series. We were only shooting a little over a week, but so like toward the end. So I was afraid, if somebody is tested with COVID um, before we finish and then maybe we're going to have to shut down the production right before we finish and how are we going to finish this thing, go back and reshoot, and so it was a worry, but that didn't happen luckily.
Thank goodness.
Yes.
We we had gotten lucky till one day I did improv show and got, the text no one wants to see.
Improv, you do improv?
I'd done an improv lesson class one for a bit, and we get like right towards the end, and we get the group text of
Someone had COVID.
positive test, and it's like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Right at the end.
uh Improv, yeah, I trained in improv for a few years. I was working with Chicago City Limits, an improv troupe in New York, oddly with the name Chicago City Limits, but it's in New York. It's because they formed in Chicago and this group came to New York. Um, so I took classes with them, and I performed as a pianist. I played for their shows a few times. I was filling in for their main pianist on some shows way back. So so I performed with this improv troupe, but not as an improv actor. That's what I wanted to do. I did more than playing the piano. I mean, I play the piano, but I wanted to be on the stage, but I didn't get a chance to be in their troupe. I wasn't selected for that. But since I played and I filled in for their piano, so I can say yes, I performed with Chicago City Limits. But the main thing is that the training was very helpful for then becoming a ventriloquist shortly after that. Yeah, ventriloquist after being an improv actor.
Wow.
And don't worry, it was free tickets, and she couldn't even still get anyone to laugh.
Too much.
From and when it comes to the movie, what of course I managed to jump around and mess myself up.
Hmm.
What when it came to producing the web series, like example, moving around the puppets or anything, what was like the biggest challenge that you ended up learning from that you took with you into making the movie?
Ah, um, well, the in the web series and in Casa Noir, the concept that I presented, that I was working with, is a little different from the feature film because up until the feature film, I always had the puppets autonomous so that they could move at times on their own and talk like without me being supposedly near them. So that's the world that I was presenting, that they were operating within, that these puppets, like the Muppets, were autonomous and don't really need me. So I made it was unclear in what way I'm actually helping them. And actually, I guess at some point, at least in the web series, I even explained a little bit about the backstory. It came out someplace. I don't remember where, about how I breathed life into them at one point. So now they at some point they don't actually need me to talk. But that was actually harder to shoot because that was time consuming. The times that they had to look inanimate. So usually I was the one who was down there, out of view, operating them like a regular puppet. But sometimes there were a few times, and I tried to minimize those because it's complicated, time consuming, where a puppet was supposed to be autonomous on screen in the same shot with me, but no one's operating it. That looks like no one's operating it. So that was sometimes hard to shoot because I had to get a substitute puppeteer and I had to synchronize the talking. So I kept that to a bare minimum, but those were the hardest shots. So when I came to the feature film, I decided I don't want to even do that concept like they were autonomous. But also, I thought it was good to do it that way. I mean, I enjoyed changing that concept for this, not just for the practical reason of the shooting being a little easier that way, but also because I wanted this one to have the uh, the possibility that everything is in the ventriloquist's head, that the puppets are not autonomous, but he thinks they are. Oh, actually, I have to negate a bit of what I just said because that's really the real reason is that I wanted to play with that idea that there's a logical explanation, physical explanation for every time that Trillo thinks that the puppets are real and talking by themselves. So I say I have to go back on what I said because we did have to shoot those scenes, so that was complicated. But the thing is that it's in his head ostensibly, apparently. But I wanted the audience to come away thinking, well, maybe they are real. Maybe it's not just in his head, but it could be explained away as being in his head. I wanted to just be unclear, let the viewer, you know, have make their own decision about that.
But
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I
So
does.
you saw the movie, yes, Sammy.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, what was your feeling about that when you watched it? Did you think that within that movie that the puppets are real or have come to life in some way, or do you think it really is just in Trillo's head?
Certain moments I was like, okay, what's going on? Then I could see the type of reaction, especially when Cat would notice like, hey, you're halfway across the room. I'm over
Hmm.
here. This should not be happening. Then there's other moments where I would like doing a lot more of where it would be going over the clues. I'm like, nobody seems to be looking at this where that doesn't look. It almost kind of would fall into what I was kind of going for like Muppet-esque, where people kind of seem to fall into the line of okay, that is a human, and then it's like nope, nope, that's a hallucination.
Mhm. So it seemed a little unclear to you also, right? Not indefinite, not definite. Yeah, well, yeah, that's good. I feel that's kind of how I want people to think of it or to look at it.
It's like almost like a dream sequence.
Yeah.
Because definitely like my favorite moment was where you'd be going like, wait, he's halfway across the room right now. One of them just said they could question suspects.
Yeah. Yeah, Ezra says that. It's one of my other puppets.
How many puppets do you have?
I've lost count. I've got so many. I've got a big collection of them,
Wow.
and most of them I haven't even, not most of them, but a number of them I haven't performed with. I've performed with, well, in live shows, most of them I haven't performed with. I've done videos, you know, on social media with um, 10 or 11 of them. And, I have main ones that I do live shows with, usually four. I do four, maybe five in a live show because I can't carry around, lug around so many puppets. I have to rent a truck or something. So I keep it either three, four, at the maximum five puppets in a show. But then I've got a few others that I also have performed a lot with, record a lot of videos on social media, and then a whole bunch more that are just there that I haven't used publicly.
Wow.
What was it like working with your daughter on the web series?
Well, I always liked that question because it was wonderful working with her. She has worked with me on all these, well, as you know, most of my productions that I've mentioned earlier. She did not work on the first one, which is Oxford Park, the short film, because I shot that in 2005 when she was 5 years old. So she didn't help on that one, but she did help on the others when she grew up, so that she was like 19, 20 when we were shooting the web series, and she was in the web series. She played a role, a recurring role. I don't know. Did you get to watch any of the web series yet?
I've seen clips, but not as much as I wish I had.
Yeah, okay. Well, you can always go back to it if you want. Anyone out there can because it's on my YouTube channel, which is the Dummy Detective Movie YouTube channel.
Oh.
I renamed it recently when I released this movie to the Dummy Detective Movie because I'm pushing the movie. I'm trying to promote this movie. That's my main goal. Up until then, up until recently, it was the Trillo and Suede YouTube channel. But it's the same channel, and the link is still there. It still works if you have it, type in Trillo and Suede. Anyway, the whole web series, 20 episodes in total, are up there for free for people to enjoy, as is Oxford Park, that short film from 2005, and Casa Noir, the short film from 2022,
Neat.
I believe. So, yeah, that's all up there. Anyway, yeah, it was wonderful working with Sabrina. Sabrina is now a young filmmaker in her own right, and uh, more than in her own right. I mean, she's surpassed me. Her knowledge of filmmaking is far greater than mine at this point. She's a wonderfully talented young filmmaker. She's made a lot of short films, and she's working on it. She just recently was the director, co-writer, and director of a TV pilot. So hopefully, will be a TV series soon,
Ooh.
and a bunch of other stuff. So anyway, if you take anything away from this interview with me today, it is to remember my daughter's name because she's going to be a lot more famous than me. I
Uh-huh.
firmly believe. So that's Sabrina Geffner, same last name as me at this point.
Great.
If you had to explain Detective and Trillo and Sam Slade as a music genre, what would it be and why?
As a music.
Oh, if I had to describe Trillo and Suede as a what?
A music genre.
A music genre? Yeah, is that? Yeah.
Hmm.
Um. Oh well, it's uh, definitely the film noir era and feeling. So it would be uh, old jazz. It would be vintage um, classic jazz songs. So
Hmm.
there was the word for the old standard jazz genre, because I love that music myself. Those songs from that era, I think, are the best, and especially the ones that have that kind of melancholy feeling about them. Those are the ones that were used in film noir. So that music is a particular favorite of mine and fits our detective characters very much. You know, I mentioned I'm a pianist and I'm a classical pianist primarily. So classical music is my favorite genre of music in general, but I also love classic jazz, the old style jazz, much more than modern jazz, but the old jazz standards. I play them on the piano too. So, that's my second favorite.
Oh. Oh. Did you teach yourself ventriloquism or did you find it in books or how did you do it?
When I saw that ventriloquist performer, that fateful day 40 years ago, I decided that I need to learn this. And this was before the internet, way back then in historic times, in prehistoric times, I should
Mm,
say. Um, so I saw there was a trade paper backstage. There's still, well, there's backstage. I don't know if they still have the paper form anymore. Maybe they do, but it's mostly online, as everything is these days, backstage. But there used to be, like a weekly newspaper, like trade for the industry of entertainment industry, and they have ads. And there's a ventriloquist. This is around Christmas time, so there was a ventriloquist named Todd Stockman who had a greeting there, a photo of him with his partner and wishing a Merry Christmas. And, it had his contact number, I guess through his service in those days. People called services. And so I contacted him and said, "Do you teach it?" And he said, "Yeah, I give lessons." So I scheduled a lesson. And then I had a total of 4 lessons. That's all, because that was
wow.
enough, I found, to get me going on my own. I learned basic techniques from him. And then I just studied more on my own, practiced on my own, and started going to these ventriloquist conventions every year. The famous Vent Convention, they call it, in used to be Kentucky, now Cincinnati,
Oh,
and watching ventriloquists perform whenever I could, but mostly just experimenting. I just needed those first few lessons to get me started, and that's what I do now. I teach people too, ventriloquism, and
cool.
I also now I intentionally try to keep the lessons down to 4. Um, that was my experience. I figured, well, that should be enough for other people too, and I try to make sure, because I don't want to like milk them for more lessons where they don't, to pay more money. So I figure, okay, I'll teach everything as fast as I can. Sometimes even 2 or 3 lessons, people feel it's enough. They can practice on their own, which is, that's my goal. So
Wow.
a maximum of 4, to just so they can practice on their own. They can come back for coaching if they want, to refine things um, later on, once in a while, But as far as learning, I figured, yeah, just like I learn quickly what I need to. That's how I teach.
That's cool. You should do that.
Huh. How did
When
you
it,
learn?
She just practices.
Oh, like the YouTube videos, watching those?
yeah,
And she bought me from Puppets and they do a series on there to teach you also.
Oh, nice. Well, you said you are living proof that you don't need to have any private lessons to learn ventriloquism. You can learn completely on your own, as you have.
Yes.
Most most of my practice ends up though sadly being just the move around work, which kind of ends up taking advantage of me going to a store and be like make it look like okay, he's looking for milk.
Oh,
But
you're like using it in real life, right?
Yes.
Really?
yes.
A lot.
When it comes to the I'm gonna say special effects, but technically practical effects, what was the biggest hurdle or moment where it was like, okay, we gotta take this step by step to figure out how to pull this off.
Ah, um, well, I think the scenes that you mentioned, we both mentioned, where Trillo, the detective, is imagining or is experiencing that his puppets are talking anonymously or autonomously, where he's not controlling them anymore. Those scenes were the ones that were tricky to pull off to make it look realistic. I had to get assistant puppeteers. My daughter Sabrina was there operating um, a puppet sometimes, and then also Abigail Marshall, who was the uh, what do you call it? The art designer for the project. She also was an assistant puppeteer. So, I had to coach that. Well, Sabrina already knew how to do it from other experience, but Abby, I had to also teach a little bit, and we had to coordinate that and then get the voices synchronized. So, yeah, that was the trickiest part.
Was there any moments where it needed to be a backup, like, okay, there's the backup vests or like I'm trying to hint towards a certain scene without playing a spoiler and I'm like not sure
Oh,
how.
yeah, no spoilers, please. So, if you can phrase the question without a spoiler.
Was there any moments where a backup of any prop ended up being needed when it came to practical effects?
Back of a prop? No, we didn't. We didn't have any props destroyed that I can think of. So maybe you're thinking of something specific that I'm not thinking of. But yeah, without knowing what you're referring to exactly, I can't think of anything where we needed backup of props. There's one thing I'm thinking. I don't know if you're thinking of this, but there is a scene, and I'm not going to say where the scene comes in the movie, so it won't give anything away. But there is a scene where a lamp gets knocked down, and it's in a very, very high intensity moment in the movie. Uh, and that was an accident. That wasn't meant to happen. But it looked good on screen, so we kept it.
Oh,
The moment of pure, well, that didn't happen. Was at least make it look like it did moment.
Yeah. Well, it worked for us. Oh, so then the answer to your question, when that happened, we thought we're going to have to replace that lamp, but actually it didn't break, so we were okay.
oh.
What was it like going from projects like Puppet Power to Dummy Detective?
Oh wow, you really did your research. Yeah, those are a series of videos. I did two video series, educational series, way back early in my career. So this was in the 1980s and 90s. Uh, this was Puppet Pride and Puppet Power, um, educational videos for kids. They were used in schools uh, way back then. I almost forgot about those. Now that you reminded me of those. Yeah, those were my first video experiences on screen. So, um, come to think of it, yeah, I had quite a bit of experience in front of a camera with my puppets doing all those videos. I wrote them and shot them and then sold them to schools, teaching about various subjects, um, educational subjects, and trying to make them funny, of course, or enjoyable. How was it? Well, that's a very basic. Production value was very low for those videos. I think they were fun videos. They got a good response. But yeah, every project I did after that kept getting more advanced and better production value. So now the feature film, The Dummy Detective, definitely has the highest production value of anything that I've done. And I'm very pleased with how it looks, how it came off on the very tight budget that we had. I think uh, the uh, the art director and the costume designer and the gaffer, which is the lighting person, it's Michael Fisher, and the cinematographer Yuri Bathian was marvelous. Everybody was doing their roles really well, so it helped. It all came together to make it look really good, I think.
If you could work with any other ventriloquist ever, who would it be?
Well, if the question can be living or dead, I definitely would say Paul Winchell, because Paul Winchell was my idol. I loved him on his old TV shows, Paul Winchell and Jerry Mahoney, the Jerry Mahoney Hour, I think it was called. There were a few permutations of his TV show way back there in the 50s and 60s. So when I was a little kid, I remember watching, but in those days, I had no idea I'd be a ventriloquist someday. I just loved his show. And then I watched his old videos on VHS because that was even before DVDs, back in the 80s when I became a ventriloquist. Um, so he was my favorite of all ventriloquists. So I kind of modeled myself after him in a way, or he was my biggest inspiration. His style, he had a lot of energy and um, I kind of think there's a sort of a New York style of energy that because I'm also from New York, so I had that in common too. I felt that really appealed to me. So yeah, he was my favorite, and I would choose him for sure.
Oh.
Is there anything from previous drafts of the Dummy Detective that you wish you kept in?
Was there anything that I wish I kept in that I didn't hear the middle part?
From previous drafts of the script.
Oh, from the drafts. Um, well, yes, because well, first of all, I did so many drafts of this script since the first time I wrote it. This particular script was over 20, it's probably 22 years ago. And then through the years, I've done many drafts and um, always with an eye to improving it, of course, to making everything work better, but also consciously trying to make it as low budget as possible because I knew that I probably, as the years went by, I was like resigned to the fact that I most likely will have to fund this myself someday if I ever am going to do it. Because all my efforts to get it funded by someone else, a movie studio, producers, investors, any combination of those, everything was coming to dead ends. So for quite a while, I kind of just shelved it and resigned myself that I'll never shoot this movie or any other that I wrote. And I said I just had to come to terms with that. But then an opportunity arose that I was able to shoot it cheaper than I thought I would have to. It's still a lot of money, but it was, not as much money as I thought I would have to be. And it's partially, or to a large extent, due to the fact that I kept shaving down the script and making things shootable on the lowest possible budget while still hopefully looking good. So yeah, to answer your question about yeah, if I could do in a perfect world, there are some things I wish I could do, some scenes I wish I could have included, and some locations I could have added. that would have made it even better. But you do what you have to do. So we had to limit the locations and the scenes and even the length of the movie. Um, it's an hour and a half movie, so that's long enough for feature film. But yeah, with a few other scenes, it would have been a little longer that I would have liked to do, but we just couldn't do because of budget.
Did you have a lot of bloopers?
Ha. Um, well, there were bloopers. Unavoidably, there were always bloopers,
Ah,
but
be one.
we we don't have a blooper reel. I never put it together or asked an editor to put it together because um, I expected actually before we shot this that I'll get a very funny blooper roll out of this because I figure with the puppets I've gotten some funny blooper rolls out of some of the other previous things I've done. Um, but this as I was editing this, I mean I wasn't the editor, but I was working with the editor. Um, I realized that there are very few funny bloopers, very few funny outtakes for a particular reason. And that's because we were, everybody's very much under the gun to shoot this very fast. With my budget, we shot it entirely in 11 days, the whole movie, which for a feature film is extremely fast.
Yeah.
So, a lot of feature films shoot for over a year, 2 years even, the big films, But anyway, so with 11 days, we had to get it done. And so there was a lot of stress. Well, for me in particular, but everybody was under some stress, I'm sure, to get things right and if we made mistakes, like we couldn't linger over mistakes just to have a prolonged laugh and kibitz a lot. Um, that's the kind of thing on some previous projects. Sometimes if things would go wrong, I would just kibitz with the puppets, make some more jokes and stuff. But no, if something went wrong, it was just like, okay, cut, do it again. It was like very serious.
Huh. Ooh.
If you could have the Dummy Detective end up on any network or work, which would it be?
Netflix. That would be my
Oh.
first choice because I think that's where it most belongs as far as looking at the various things that they have. I mean, every one of, I'd be happy if it was on Hulu or HBO Max, uh, a couple of others, Apple TV, but Netflix is kind of the prime, even though it's not called Amazon Prime is a different name, but yeah, Amazon Prime. Actually, but it's on Amazon Prime, so it's like that's not some like terrible thwarted dream that it's not on Netflix. It is on Amazon Prime, so that's pretty cool too, But I would say as far as Netflix as being like a featured Netflix original, something that they would really push and promote, that would be sort of the best spot for it. But I didn't have access to even pitching it to Netflix. It's very hard to get things on Netflix when you're a tiny indie film like mine. But I was able to get it on Amazon Prime, so that's good enough.
I saw you served as a director for sorry if I mispronounce certain things in this sentence. Workman's Circle Yiddish School. What was that like?
Oh, wow. You really did your research. Yes. So uh, I have a bachelor's degree in Yiddish language and literature from Queens College in City University of New York. So through the years, that's something that I've done usually part-time, teach Yiddish classes, sometimes adults, sometimes kids, and I do Yiddish translation sometimes. People hire me to translate, documents and things from Yiddish to English. So that was one of the many things I've done through my life. I've done a number of other things, but yeah, that's been the main thing. I still do that a little bit right now. I have one Yiddish class that I teach and like once a week. And something, yeah, I enjoy that. It's always, but it's mainly something to help make a living along the way. My dreams were Since I became a ventriloquist, that's the always been my main focus.
What a what maturity rating would you give the dummy detective?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch it.
What maturity rating would you give the dummy
Oh, maturity
detective?
rating. Oh, um, yeah, I'm not even sure about that because, yeah, we, we see when this is pitched as an indie film, um, to the platforms, they decide on their own ratings for it. Um, so it wasn't up to me. Um, my distributor is Film Hub, and then they pitched it to Amazon Prime and to Tubi and to a lot of other places. Um, and had they listed it as what do they say, PG-14, which is odd because usually it's PG-13. So okay, so to answer your question, I think probably PG-13. Uh, the only reason I hesitate is because it's mostly PG. It's the, even the 13. I mean, just I think, most of it, uh, I think it's fine for kids too. But there are a couple of things, like references to certain subject, which also might not be appropriate for kids. But the thing is, I never make it very clear. I think kids wouldn't understand the allusion to what's being referred to anyway. So that's where I'm kind of torn between maybe just PG, but to be safe. Okay, bottom line, if I had to choose, I would be safe and say PG-13.
Do you have a question, Snitch?
Um, should I ask about the dress?
Different question.
Uh, what letters do you find the most difficult to do in your ventriloquism?
Well, the standard BP, and M, I guess, like for everybody. Hopefully, it's kind of you don't have to think about it much anymore, but still, yeah, I still have to sort of focus so I don't blow the substitute sounds, which can happen once in a while. It doesn't come out clearly, but hopefully not very often.
Yeah, those are the tough ones.
Yeah.
What was it like to teach ventriloquism to Nat Wolff for the movie Admission?
Oh, that was a nice experience. That movie is a Tina Fey movie. She was the star, Tina Fey, and Nat Wolff played um, her. Was it son? He was it. Oh, I think it turns out to be the plot. Maybe that's a spoiler I'm giving away. It turns out to be her son, but they don't know that at first. I think that's what I don't even remember, because I was just teaching him. I wasn't involved in the plot. But anyway, there's one scene where he is supposed to be a ventriloquist to perform at a birthday party to actually perform ventriloquism. So someone tracked me down. They hired me to give him a few lessons, coaching on ventriloquism, how to be it, or at least do it well enough to fake it well enough, so he looks like he's good in the actual movie. And yeah, I met with him a few times. I don't remember exactly how many. And then I was on set too. They hired me to be on set for 2 days while they were shooting that scene, in case he had, you know, uh, any questions for me or could use my help in anything that came up while they were shooting. So I was there, on set as well, which was fun. And he's a very nice guy. I mean, that was already a number of years ago, but at the time I think he was 17. What year was that? Gee, it was maybe 12 years ago. Um, yeah, maybe I think about 12 years ago. So not sure what he's up to these days. His career was getting really big for a while. I mean, he was in some big movies, but then I haven't heard from him in recent years. Have you?
Mm-mm.
Yes, I don't know what he's doing these days, but it looked like he was going to be like one of the major stars for. So he was already very popular back then. But it wasn't going to his head at that point as a, I think, 17-year-old kid. He was very nice, very, very, friendly, nice kid.
Oh,
Do you have a favorite puppet?
Favorite
Favorite
puppet?
me.
I was like asking someone who's their favorite child. Even if I had one, I'd feel too guilty to say it, to admit it. So I'll say this, that I know Schmendrick the best. Schmendrick's not in the movie. Um, he's but he's the one that I use most in I have the most stage time in shows. And he's the first character that I developed way back in the very beginning. So I would demonstrate if he's here, but he's not here now. He's in a different room. So that's the puppet that I feel like I know the most. I have the most history with. However, as far as favorite to work with, I'd have to say Suede because he's my partner now is Trillo and Suede, and that's my main focus of my career at this point is Trillo and Sway. But then again, like choosing a favorite kid, then I think, oh, but Ezra, I like him just as much. Ezra is the kind of whimsical, uh, kind of lighthearted country boy, and he's in the movie also. And yeah, I enjoy working with all the others. But if you forced me that I have to choose one now, as far as favorite to work with, it's Suede.
I know this may be kind of double tracking on top of what you had mentioned before, but who was your first ever puppet?
That's the Schmendrick.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I was like, is this gonna walk completely over the exact same question? Yes. Am I going to say it? Yes.
That's okay. Yeah, but it was a different version of him. I had the puppet remade over the years. So yeah, we've been talking a long time. So um, we'll have to wrap up. But unfortunately, Deb did not join us. I mean, she said she was going to try to make it, but I'm glad I could make it at least. And I'll give you a chance for a final question or two.
We're very glad you're here.
Oh,
That's also a good note because I literally wrote, these are the last questions.
okay, good.
It
So
is there anything that I didn't ask about that you feel like everyone needs to know?
the main thing I want to tell everybody is to go to the dummydetectivemovie.com. You go
Yes.
to that web page because that lists all and it gives the links to all the platforms where the movie is currently streaming, where you could watch the movie. We update it as more platforms release the movie. We expect a few more to release it in the coming
Oh,
months. But right now, currently, you can watch it on Amazon Prime in many countries. Um, in most of those countries, it's free with subscription. Unfortunately, I guess in the US right now, it's for rental or purchase on Amazon Prime, but at least you get to see it with no ads.
yeah.
So it might be worth renting for the sake of not seeing it with ads in the US. They might change that. Amazon makes those rules. I don't about where they have it free with subscription, where you have to rent or purchase. So right now in the US, that's in most countries where you get Amazon Prime, it's free with subscription. But it's also on Tubi, Tubi TV, usually just called Tubi, and that is free. That's in also many countries. Check it out. If your country, if you're not in the US, it might be in your country too. That has ads, but it's free. So another place to watch it. And then check out the links there is Zumo Play. It's on Plex now. Oh, that's a new one. It was released recently on Plex. And that's in 130 countries. I saw the list there. So it's in, I guess, most countries in the world. You can watch it for free on Plex. So check it out. And also, I have subtitles available in five languages. Well, six because English subtitles, but you also can watch it with German, French, Italian, Spanish, and Portuguese subtitles. So if English is not your first language, but any of those are, you could always put those subtitles on as an option. So the dummydetectivemovie.com, that's the place to go.
Yeah.
And for the final question, any advice for ventriloquists just starting out that you wish that you had known when you started out?
Uh, It's a good question, but to narrow it down, any particular advice, uh, I'd say, it also depends on what their goal. Okay, let's assume their goal is to be as good as they can to even to perform to make a career of it. Um, I'd say one piece of advice: get acting lessons too. Take some acting lessons, or acting class at least, because um, that's an important part of ventriloquism that's often overlooked, I think, is that it's not only talking without moving your mouth, but you want to look convincing, on stage or on camera in the role you're playing. So acting, in addition, is very helpful.
Oh,
And thank you for the sentence before knocking out my normal, which because I somehow cannot get bio links to work. Where can we find you? Question. So that was my last question.
awesome.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's been a pleasure. Good questions. And it was nice to meet all of you.
It was nice meeting
And
you.
it's nice meeting you as well. Once I want to thank you for being on the Miss Sans Chit Chat.